Hey guys, what is up? It is your friendly neighborhood Ubigus here, and I'm gonna talk briefly about the Hearthstone change that's happening, where they're adding formats, specifically the standard format. They're calling it standard, and it's exactly the same as Magic standard, um, like almost perfectly exactly the same as Magic standard with the same name, which is a little weird. I don't know how they're. I mean, I guess you can't. It's hard to trademark the term standard, um, but I don't know. Bit weird. The point is, I think it's a great change. I think it is going to accomplish everything that they want it to, and I think it's overall going to be a healthy change for the game as a whole. Now, briefly, if you don't know what standard is in Magic, the general idea is it keeps the last two blocks of standard. Well, they're changing it, I guess, in Magic, so it's three blocks, right? 3 block rotations. That sounds about right. Um, but yeah, it would keep roughly the last 2 years of cards current, and then every block coming out would, and a block is made up of multiple sets, would then rotate out another block at the tail end of it, and then you'd continue forward, and it would be a constant rotation every few sets, and that's essentially what's going to happen here. They're going to have, I believe, they're maintaining the two sets of cards a year sort of thing. So they have a spring and a fall. Spring is going to be in card pack form, and fall is going to be in adventure form. At least that is my current understanding of it. They may do something slightly different, but every time that the spring set comes out, then they're going to rotate out. In this case, the first thing rotating out when this spring set is hitting is Nax and GVG. Next, it'll be BlackRock and Grand Tournament. Um, so that's cool. I think it's cool, and it's going to be a constantly moving forward sort of thing, and it'll consistently freshen up the metagame. And I think overall, it's a great thing. I think it's an awesome change. I think it's going to increase the longevity of the game, and I think a lot of people who disagree with that statement probably didn't play Magic. Because if you know much about Magic the Gathering, the only real TCG that's proven itself to work long term, large scale long term TCG, the most popular format is Standard and has been for ages, literally since the creation of formats, as far as I know. I didn't play way back then. I was a tiny little baby, but it's the most popular format, and that's not without reason. The reason is it's accessible. It's very easy to get into standard because it's current cards. You don't have to like dig through the secondary market in Magic terms. You don't have to dig through like the secondary market and spend your hundreds of dollars on Jaces and stuff just to get into some format that is super subject even to bans for in the event of if you're talking about modern. In standard, there have been very few bans historically. I'm trying to think of what actual bans happened. There was the uh, God, what even got banned in Affinity? Well, Skull Clamp got banned. I don't know. A bunch of things got banned in Mirrodin because they fucked up a lot. I think a bunch of things. I don't remember. I didn't play back then. But I know almost nothing ever got banned in Standard. Chase the Mind Sculptor is a clear example of something that did get banned in Standard, and was clearly overpowered as hell. But the fact of the matter is that it's a more accessible format because it's more current cards, and you don't have to worry about something horrible happening to your cards. Now, one of the main criticisms that I'm seeing is it's such a weird one because people are saying that this is a mistake and that they're making it harder to access both formats. Right? They're saying that it's going to be harder for players to get into Wild, and it's also going to cost more money to maintain Standard. Right? And I think these people are acting completely on emotion when making this statement, because when you break it down logically, I don't get how you can reach that conclusion. I actually don't understand it. Because here's somebody on Reddit. So somebody said the game got way more accessible for new players. You no longer need Doctor Boom. You no longer need to save gold for Nax. Uh, Stuff like that. I agree with that person. I think they make great points. And then this person, in a response to the statement, "You no longer need a Doctor Boom," that person says, "No, you'll need to buy TGT packs, and then the next expansion, and then the next, every year, to be even able to play standard. This is not good at all for new players." Here's what I don't understand. How is that fucking different? What, are you not buying the new expansions every time they come out for the current fucking format? What Hearthstone are you playing? Like what are you doing? Did you look at League of Explorers? Over half the cards, maybe not over half, but a fucking massive chunk of the cards are currently played. They're good. TGT, not nearly as many. It was an interesting one, but a lot of them, a good chunk of them are played, right? So would it why would the standard format change that? If anything, it makes it better, because if you only play standard now, instead of being like, I mean, like, I really don't have the dust to craft all these cards, I'll just drop the money on the new expansion. Now you can be like, well, I don't need this Dr. Boom or this fucking Mayexna, and dust them, and then craft new cards and save money, right? If you're only playing standard, how great is that? That's awesome, right? And then, in response to, you no longer need to save gold for Nax, now you need 4 times the amount of gold to get the cards, because the amount of dust required to craft them. Oh my god. So, if I wanted to play, let's say, Secret Paladin in the Wild format, which, by the way, after the implementation of Standard, there will still be Wild, which is the same format as what it is right now, except adventures will no longer be purchasable if they're out of rotation, but you can craft them instead. So that's where this is coming from. Sorry if I didn't make that clear before. But now, if you want to play Secret Paladin, instead of being like, oh, I gotta pay $20 for this thing, oh, I gotta save up, what is it, 2,800 gold? There's 4 wings in Nax, right? Or are there 5? I don't remember. I know the WoW raid. I don't remember the Hearthstone adventure that well. But, like, instead of saving up all of that gold, or all of that, or just dropping the money, which were your only 2 options beforehand, now you can be like, oh, well, I can dust all of these dog shit cards and craft an Avenge and a Haunted Creeper. And now I have Secret Paladin. Yeah, maybe I need a Lothab, and that's a legendary. But that comes with the territory. You're playing Wild. You're going to probably have a lot of legendaries. But at the same time, who knows? Who knows what's going to come out in future expansions? Maybe Lothab will not actually just be a staple anymore. Maybe something else will come out to replace it in a newer set. And you won't even need to craft a Lothab. Like, there's so many things that are, like, future based, and you can't talk about them yet. Or, in this case where the person says you need to save up 4 times the amount of gold, that's just fucking dog shit. That's horse shit, right? Like, what part of that statement makes sense? How would you have to save up 1,200 gold when now all you need to do is craft 2 fucking commons? Hello? You don't need to craft all of Nax. In fact, if you are a bot Nax, now you have legendaries that are shit, Naxna, to dust to go towards other cards. So everything is getting cheaper. Every part of the system is going to become cheaper than it currently is. Right? If you're playing Wild, it's the same as it is now, except you can dust more cards. Right? That's it. That's the only difference. It's the same as it is now, but now you can dust more cards. Right? Sure, you don't have the option to pay actual money to buy the Nax Adventure or GVG packs. But, I mean, the Nax Adventure, in fairness, it's not really worth that money if you can just create the cards, if you can just craft the cards. It's really not worth the money at all. And then GVG, they're packs, right? Spending money on packs is generally not the best plan. Like, yeah, I need to craft Dr. Boom. My choices are, pay this amount of money and hope and pray for Boom to pop out. or spend the same amount of money in a different thing and get different cards that I can also use, more cards that I can use, dust the excess, and then craft Doctor Boom. Do you see what I'm saying? I think I think the idea that it'll make it less accessible is so it's just such a gut reaction to me, because I see every single part of the game getting cheaper and easier to access. It's like the main difference is that a new player will not do wild, which is fine, because you know what new players do now? They suck it up and get their ass kicked from all these decks that they just can't beat. You know what'll happen when the standard format gets implemented? It'll be so much easier to not get your ass kicked. Not only will the metagame have less time to develop, right? But also, there's just less cards. Less cards means it's easier for a newer player. Yeah, you're not going to touch wild. Who cares, right? You're just going to play standard, and it'll be a much better experience than it is now. I don't see the problem. I think it's a great change. I think all about this, everything about this is awesome. I think following in the footsteps of Magic the Gathering, the only proven long-term successful TCG, you could argue Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon TCG, but you don't see, gigantic prize pools or hundreds of thousands of viewers on streams and stuff for those games. In fact, Pokemon's been around like as long, right, as Magic, something like that. It's not even like a fraction of the size. So I'd say following the most successful TCG that has proven itself to be a long-term successful business is the correct way to go when trying to create a new TCG from scrap in the 21st century, right? I think follow something that knows what it's doing rather than try to pave your own path. Yeah, there's a lot of differences between the games, and there has to be, otherwise it would just be a straight copycat. But I think you can follow a lot of the themes and overall decisions that Magic has made, and it'll be a beneficial thing. Anyway, sorry if I got heated. Sorry if that offended you. If you disagree with me, please be sure to leave a comment. I would love to discuss this further with you, but please just be civil. I don't want to talk to somebody who's going to spend this whole time calling me a stupid fucking, I don't know, cracker. You stupid cracker. That's what the kids are saying nowadays, right? Honky. There we go. That's what. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.